During this week, from Monday to today, Russian terrorists have used almost 190 missiles of various types, nearly 140 Shahid-type drones, and nearly 700 guided aviation bombs, as noted by Volodymyr Zelensky in his evening address. I'm Maria Drutska, and today I will briefly tell you how missiles are flying already to Ukraine from NATO territory, how much the Russian submarine fleet has been replenished with new ships, and about sanctions on Russian oil in Ukrainian style. In Sevastopol, the Ukrainian Defense Forces struck the landing ships Yamal and Azov, the communication center, as well as several infrastructure objects. At least 3 Storm Shadow missiles reportedly hit the main communication hub of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. According to the Osin technical project, there are also military units of missile guidance system and the FSB located there too. This night saw the most massive attack for the entire period of the conflict, as Russian official channels reported. Well, guys, you wanted to say the most massive attack so far. According to the information from the occupation authorities on the Crimea, supposedly the air defense system in the city intercepted dozens of missiles approaching the city, including British Storm Shadow missiles. Russian sources confirmed that the target of the attack was the main communication center of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. 34 soldiers were also killed, 40 wounded, and 3 aircraft were damaged. Russian sources report on the results of the strike on Sevastopol. Meanwhile, their Black Sea Fleet has not yet fully transformed into submarine fleet, and the unnecessary and redundant structure called the Crimean Bridge still stands. So there are still many surprises waiting for you, lovers of Russian shashlik in Crimea. Before I continue, I want to thank all of you who send coffees to buy me coffee and become patrons to this channel. Subscribe also to my Twitter page, where I post regular updates about the situation in Ukraine, and to my Instagram, where I show the daily life in Ukraine. This is already the 12th attack on oil refineries in Russia over the past 3 weeks. On Saturday, March 23, drones hit one of the units at the Kuybyshev oil refinery in Russia. The refinery suspended operations after the attack. One of the units was affected, and the whole production cycle of the plant was halted. British intelligence stated that recent attacks have disabled at least 10% of the capacities of Russian oil refineries. According to the Ministry of Defense of Britain, Russia is unlikely to be able to protect all its refineries from Ukrainian attacks. Well, we don't even need to be British intelligence to say that Russia definitely won't be able to protect all its refineries, at least because the territory is vast. They transport their installations to Moscow, fearing for the life of their great leader, and into the zone of the so-called special military operations. In this photo, you can see how many oil refineries of various size are still left. The yellow figure is the capacity of the oil refinery measured in millions of tons, and the nearby white figure is the distance from the border of Ukraine. Well, as we can see, there is still a lot of work to be done. It's a long way from finished. Russia has launched a massive missile strike against Ukraine for the third time in a few days. On the night of March 24, it launched cruise missiles from 14 to 95 aircraft. That same night, dozens of Shahid-type drones struck all regions of Ukraine and reached as far as Lviv and Ivano-Frankivsk. According to the Ukrainian Air Forces, in total, the Russians attacked with 29 cruise missiles, 28 strike drones of the Shahid type. Ukrainian military destroyed 18 Ha-101, Ha-555 cruise missiles and 15 strike drones. After 4 o'clock in the morning, the missiles began to enter Ukrainian territories through Sumy and Chernihiv regions and headed west. After 5 o'clock, the air forces reported that the first groups of missiles have already flown into Zhytomyr, Vinnytsia, and Khmelnytsky regions. At the same time, a group of missiles, which was the last to fly into Ukraine from Chernihiv region, according to the air forces, struck Kiev. The air defense worked, as write BBC News Ukraine. In the morning around 9:30, the Russians from MiG-31 struck the Lviv region with Kinzhal missiles. There are preliminary reports of 2 hits on the same critical infrastructure objects that the occupiers targeted at night. Firefighters who extinguished the fire were promptly warned of the attack. They managed to move to a safe place. Later, the operational command of the Polish army reported that one of the missiles entered Polish airspace. Polish and NATO military aircraft were launched into the air. The object entered Polish airspace near the town of Serdov, Lublin voivodeship, and stayed there for 39 seconds. Military radars tracked it throughout the flight, the statement said. At the same time, the Poles did not shoot down the missile. We knew the flight path. It was clear that this object would not fly deep into our country, said spokesman for the operational command of the Polish armed forces. Well, this time Poland waited for the missile to leave Polish territory. This time the missile flew back to Ukraine. But next time, when Poland waits for the missile to leave Polish territory, it may leave, but fly somewhere towards Berlin, for example, then what? I don't want to speculate on this topic. I was told that Poland calculated the risks that if the missile were shot down, the debris would fall somewhere and could kill Poles. So, it would be better if it, of course, would fly back to Ukraine. And I understand this from this point. Poland, of course, has to defend its interests, first of all. But what do you think, guys? Write in comments under what conditions can and will Poland shoot down Russian missiles that accidentally, but most likely not accidentally, entered NATO airspace. And isn't it gives Russia opportunity to just start abusing NATO countries' territory and airspace? What if they just launch a missile from Kaliningrad, for example, or something? And a joke of not so dark humor for kill 50 people, you are a terrorist. Kill 50,000 people and you are Russia sitting on the UN Security Council. But not everything is so straightforward, of course, folks. As one would say. That's it for today, and I want to thank all of you for supporting Ukraine, watching Ukrainian content, and if you liked this video, you can support the channel developments on Patreon or buy me a coffee. See you soon, and Слава Україні!